Where'd you go from there?
From there, we went to a farm for a man by the name of Swalberg. He was a nice man, and we enjoyed his farm. But after we'd been there for a few years, it was a kind of a sub-marginal farm, and we just weren't making a living on it.
Where was that located?
It was also in Clarion. It was another area, but it wasn't as good a farm as the Judge's. He was a better man to work for, but it just wasn't a good farm. So we went from there to Hyatt's farm, also in Clarion. And we would go to Gunnison in the wintertime from these farms. Now, we didn't when we lived on Judge Christensen's farm, but we did on the others because they were too far from school, and the buses didn't go that far. So we bought a place in town, and we loved that place. We would cheerfully have stayed there all summer because it had...
You bought this place?
Yes, we did. And that is, we were buying it, let me put it that way. It had a nice orchard. There was an apple tree right outside my bedroom window. In this house, we had a bedroom. My folks had a bedroom. For the first time, we each had a bedroom. And so we thought it was a pretty nifty place. It was a rather simple farm, house. It had, as I mentioned, an orchard, and it had about, 2 or 3 acres that you could plant garden or whatever you wanted with it.
Where was this located?
This was in Gunnison, down the lane from, how to explain it. You remember where the creek is? Mm-hmm. If you go to the next corner, traveling south, while you go down that lane and you go clear to the bottom of that lane, and
heading west.
Yes, and when you got to the bottom of the lane, then you would make a left turn and go about midway between it and the lane that was just to the south of there, because it was right in the center of that block where the house was. And we had that place for about, I guess close to 5 years, when the man who was our bishop that we bought it from passed away, and they had a great deal of difficulty in settling his estate, and my father, seeing the problems rising among the children and between them and the mother and so on, just literally gave the place back to them, even though we had partially paid for it. He just turned it back to them so that they could sell it and get all of the money from it and settle their estate that way. So we were all quite sad when he did this, because that place was a happy place for us, and it was one that we had enjoyed a lot.